up, everybody? It's your man DJ Infotek of the infamous Record Breaker DJs. What it do, everybody? Just chopping it up with y'all. Just give a little bit about myself, where I come from with the music game. I would say over about 30 years ago, I was introduced to the music game by a good friend named James Richardson, rest his soul right now. Chad Beadle. We formed this little crew called Disc Jockey Productions. I was a young dude in it. I was probably about 12 years old. Just happened to be hanging out with the fellas and been affiliated with the music industry, I would say, man, a little over 30 years. Came into it as a preteen, just by affiliation with a couple friends that just love music. So yeah, over 30 years. Business-wise, I would say about 20 years, from about 1998 to about right now, 2018. Yeah.
So now that you've shared with us how long you've been DJing and how long you've been in the business, how did you get started?
Well, in college, I was struggling financially. Got tired of looking for particular jobs, trying to keep up, with my friends while I was in school. And one day we had an event, like a taste, like an international taste event. So one of my homeboys had brought his turntables so we can provide music, and it was just like a reminder of basically how I got started. He brought his turntables in '96, and I just remember back in about '86, which was 10 years prior, where it all got started, and the turntables were familiar to me, so I just started playing around on it around that time. And one day just went to a record store, and I think it was Pax Jewelers, bought my first set of turntables that I owned for myself, and just started practicing from there, getting back affiliated with the blends and understanding the mixer and the turntables, how everything worked, speeding it up, slowing it down, beat mixing.
So going back to what you were talking about in regards to your first time picking up the turntables, what was the first record you spun?
That's kind of blurry, but the first record I ever spun, I would think that it was a Mantronics record, I believe. The Mantronics record by Cool Keith. I gotta look it up. It's got that tempo that Tupac and Dr. Dre did for California Love remix. It's kind of like on that flow, but most of the folks that's into the music will definitely understand what I'm talking about. You can look it up.
So, do you have a memorable moment from the first time you DJ'd? I heard that you spoke one time about a comment that was made by a celebrity.
Oh yeah. You know what? Yeah, jumping ahead, there was an event that I was doing at the Maze nightclub in Milwaukee. Rest in peace to that club. It was good times up in there. But we had Big Tigger there for an event. He was the host of BET Rap City at the time. And me being a little nervous, just trying to blend the music, try to make it all mix and match, and just try to keep the flow going. And he just told me straight up, like, look, Info, stop playing. Drop it. And ever since then, I've learned how to pretty much slap beat mix, but still keep the mix and flow going. Getting back to what we were talking about, one of my first records that I spun, I know it was a Mantronics record. I think it was called Mantronics by the Ultra Magnetic MCs, featuring Cool Keith. But also just being able to go to the store and just buy my own record. I think at that time I could only afford a record. It was a Stevie Wonder record at one time. It was called Part-Time Lover. But that was actually back in really 1980, I think it was 84 or something like that. But it was one of the first records I can afford off of a paper route, and just trying to get more acquainted just with music and just loving music overall.
What truly inspired you to be a DJ or to become a DJ?
What truly inspired me to become a DJ was just the love for music. The love for music just comes from just growing up, you know, in my home with my parents, and my dad used to have all his vinyl everywhere, or not everywhere, it was pretty much in the living room. Had this one little, I think it was like a JBL turntable, and he would put his records on there. I remember a lot of George Benson records, Ohio Players type stuff, Parliament Funkadelic. Just that love for the music right there. Just seeing people dancing and enjoying their night or whatever it was at the moment. I just decided that, you know, from there I thought I would be a little more interested in learning how to DJ.
And what is the most challenging part about what you do as a DJ?
The most challenging part for me as a DJ, or was one of the most challenging things, is actually just keeping people happy on the dance floor, keeping them on the dance floor. But one thing I realized is that, let's say you're DJing in a club, people are not going to come in dancing right away. If you're starting at 9 o'clock, you know you got to just kind of play some hits, play some stuff just to get them in the groove, get them sipping, you know, getting that drink in their system, get them a little warm, you know, feeling a little confident, and moving a little bit forward, you know, start dropping some hits. You're always going to get your one or two party starters, and they're going to get out there and do their thing. But one of the biggest challenges is just really getting it started, knowing where to go, what type of vibe to go with. It all depends what culture you're working in front of, whether it's white, black, Asian, Latino. It doesn't even matter. You have to find a median as far as the music's concerned. It could be a pop song, be an old school joint. It could be the hottest song that's out at that moment that everybody is feeling. Let's say at this moment it's Lil Duval and Snoop, Smile. That's something that can go across the board with the OGs or the old school and all the way down to the young folks. So that's one of the challenges, and folks just come up to you and ask you for a song, but they don't even know what the song they want to hear, and they haven't even been dancing all night, but they just got to be in your ear and ask you for a song, and then you finally play the song for them, and they still don't dance. Another challenge is when you get approached by people who want to pocket check you. When it's time to start a contract possibly for a future event, you got people out here who don't respect the craft, don't respect the fact that you had to go buy equipment to even service the people who won't even have a party. We pay a lot of money for this stuff. From the turntables to the latest control deck, setup times, the time of spinning, the time of breaking it down. And you got people that will come to you, literally ask you to DJ for 5 to 7 hours for $150. I don't remember doing anything like that, to be honest with you, unless it was like a fundraiser, a charity of my choice that I was passionate about. Just making them pay for at least the sound and just providing the services for people to enjoy themselves and get the information that they need at whatever fundraiser that was going on. There's people out here who think that DJing is just very easy to do, and to be standing there for all those hours while everybody's requesting and nagging you all night, trying to get their favorite song played. But ultimately, people don't understand that it just takes so much to do that. And when we're standing there for those 5 or 6 hours, we're wondering like, wow, and I'm doing all of this for $150? Club owners want you to pay full price, $8 for their drinks, pay full price for the food that they have in the establishment, but they want to pay you $150. Where they do that at?
Right. So what have you noticed has changed from when you started DJing to now? What do you feel has changed within the industry, whether it be music-wise, club-wise, event-wise, and where do you get your creativity from?
I would definitely say the club scene has changed a lot. There was a point in time there was an influx of promoters trying to pretty much run the club for the club owner. And today that's kind of fizzled out, but also the music has changed drastically. The music goes to us particular genres. You got your music where you got rappers or whoever trying to tell people how to dance in a club, bend it over, touch toes, whatever that stuff is. Sure. Well, the receptiveness to the music has definitely changed. It's not like, oh, we finna get out here, oh, we partying, let's go. The music that's out is having people to make some difficult decisions in their life. And one of them is from going from being the drug dealer to being the one doing the drugs. And so the music has gotten, it has gone in that direction to the point where by the time people even get in the clubs, they're pretty much just standing around. That energy of dancing is not necessarily there anymore. They're pretty much standing around on the wall waiting for some of the females that want to come in, trying to do what they do on the dance floor, and you got a lot of standing around. Where I come from, we used to get in there and do whatever it took on that dance floor. Also, the ladies was there. Back then, folks was trying to dance, show the ladies that we knew how to dance. It's not even like that anymore. You got fellas just standing around watching the ladies, and to me, sometimes it's a recipe for a disaster that's going to end up taking place too. It all depending on the music that's being played and people's spirits. By the time they come to the event, you never know how they're feeling at that moment. Some people may have had an argument with the loved one, and with that loved one, they both probably go to clubs, and by the time one of the loved ones got to the club, they found their loved one dancing up on somebody else, which turns into a whole nother disaster. So it's really tough. It's challenging, but as a DJ, we have to be vigilant. We're actually, to me, head security, because 9 times out of 10, we're going to see everything first if we're actually paying attention to the crowd.
It's funny that you say that, because I was going to ask you about crowd control.
All right. From
the vantage point of a DJ, looking out into the crowd, how do you know when it's time to switch the music up?
Well, let's say a couple years ago, it was easy. You see people getting started leaving the dance floor. They was only hyped for that one verse of a particular song. And one thing I am realizing too is that people's attention span is not lengthy at this moment. So, one of the other challenges I would say as a DJ, we would definitely have to give it about 2 verses and get ready for the next hot song. That's if you're really trying to keep the dance floor moving. But as far as crowd control, it's just one of my formulas is I'll just go through particular genres. Let's say I'll go reggae. If I'm going reggae, I'm going to try to get reggae about a good 10 minutes. It all depends how the crowd is looking. I might go into some house music, give them a little bit of house music, get them juking whatsoever, Chi-Town style. Or just some old school hip hop with the old school dances, doing the Smurf, whatever it was that was going on back then, the Burger Bounce. Just being able to gauge people's body language, and you can pretty much tell if you're a conscious person. Even for myself, I'm like, okay, this song is getting kind of dragged. Let me go ahead and moving on to the next song and see what we can get out of people right there.
So let's switch gears and talk about your mentors. Who are those that have influenced you? Who have you watched both in the industry and just within the city of Milwaukee?
Mentors or people that I looked up to, as far as DJing from the beginning, give it up to the homie James Richardson. Also, rest in peace to him. Rest in peace to Rock D. Those 2 local legends in the city of Milwaukee. Definitely. Dr. B, old school 4x4 troop is down. That brother used to come through to our middle school dances, high school dances, and pretty much shut it down. And I just enjoyed how he mixed it up and did his job. Giving a shout out to Tony Neal. I used to just go see him in the clubs, or see him at the skating rinks. DJ Tony Neal, core DJ CEO. Homer Blow. He always had his, he has his way of doing things, and looking at guys like that ahead of me. It was, I was able to put a couple things together and come up with my style, but also I want to shout out to DJ Blade, Amari Brown. Those guys brought me over, and also DJ Jazz. They brought me over to WNOV Radio 860 AM. Showed me how to work those boards and gave me my own show on Saturday mornings back in about 2001. A lot of DJs. It's just, I just love music, and I respect the art, and I respect what people do, when it's their time to shine. So I just listen to the type of music that's necessarily being played and just try to incorporate into mine just as well. We all learn from each other.
So what are your future endeavors with the business without giving away too much?
Well, it's kind of tough. I've been, just taking it back a little bit. I've done so much, just opening up for a lot of the biggest stars at one particular point in time. Like I mentioned before, from the Run DMCs to Redmans to Outkast to 50 Cent. When he first came out with that In the Club joint, that was a huge situation back then. But just fast forward, just going to be working on some events to try to help change the game here, at least in my city, Milwaukee. It's not necessarily changing, it's just reinventing some things that have taken place. I don't really want to go too far, but I'm definitely going to be mentoring a lot more of the youth, bringing them into the fold of learning how to be an entrepreneur. Also, first of all, it's got to start out with the love for music, but you can also make money off of it. This thing didn't start with me making money off of it in the first place. As a kid, it was just fun to be a part of a team, putting together parties for the neighborhood and everybody coming by and just having a great time. My first real house party, I was 12 years old, partying with a whole bunch of high school cats, and I had no business even being there, but it was an opportunity for me. And so, like I say, moving forward with all that experience that I have, just getting back into promotions just a little bit more, and just traveling a little bit more, going to a couple more events that help me help others come up in this game.
So what motivates you overall? What is the driving force keeps you going?
The driving force right now, the motivation is definitely the music. But the music, it's evolved. From the boom bap era to trap music or whatsoever. There's a lot of different genres in hip hop. I think just what motivates me is to try to help keep putting out the good music that may not hit the radio waves. Trying to bring that underground to the overground so people will always have options within music.
What would you like to say to your audience, your viewers, party goers, the people within your target market?
First of all, I just like to thank everyone who's been supporting me all these years. I would say especially for the past 20 years. It was a little rocky in the beginning. Just on the side note, my first real college party, it wasn't a disaster. It's just, I got up there, I'm rocking because I was loving more of the, I call it hip hop, the Redman, the Wu-Tangs, Group Home, artists like that, J. Rue the Damager, just, whatever I thought was rocking at that moment. I got into No Limit, got into Hot Boys, but it was a slow start. It's really speaking from that 90s era of the music, because that's when my business started to take off. I got booed. My first major gig, I got booed. I got booed. And guess what? I didn't stop rocking. I just did what I had to do. I got booed by folks who felt like they wanted to be DJs, maybe. I don't know what it was. But fast forward, a lot of them folks that booed me and tried to shut me down ended up standing in long lines, texting me, trying to figure out how they can get into the clubs eventually. All right, so if something don't work out in one area, you need to be motivated to try something in a different area. If it don't work out there, then you just got to keep it moving until something sticks. And at that moment, college scene wasn't feeling me too much, but the club scene went hard for me. And then I ended up going ended up adding the college scene to it, and I ended up doing a whole lot of traveling as far as DJing a bunch of college parties as well. So the motivation, I'm just motivated by music. I'm motivated by how people move to the music, and I'm motivated by the lack of the love for music too, because at the end of the day, you know, if you really love music and you see people not loving the music, it's up to us DJs to bring it to you. Yeah. Hey, I like to thank all my fans though, seriously. Whoever is out there, there's thousands and thousands of people that I've worked with over a point in time. I'm just motivated by you, and I'm thankful for all of y'all once again, just for being there at any event that I was at, whether it was 10 people, 4,000, 5,000 people. I've had those type of events. I'm just thankful, and I just pray that you all continue to follow my next my next ventures, because there's going to be a couple things taking place, but I just don't really want to put it out there like that yet until I have some more concrete stuff. All right, so thank you, and be looking out for my next video. What do you want to hear from me? All right, peace.